southern region of India contains several Hindu religious temples of Tamil Nadu. The word temple means it is a place where God lives and shows the origin of Dravidian civilization. The presence of sculptures in temples forms the tools in explaining the philosophy and characteristics of a god. The sculptures are created in explaining the history of temples, ancient explanation, culture, architecture, and aim of living. The temples which forms the place for carrying out religious and societal services and through which the Tamilians developed their civilization. The scholars appreciates the Tamil's civilization is via temples civilization. Since our art and culture history has evolved from temple civilization, the temples are protected by our ancient people. In 1st and 2nd century, the term civilization is spelled and derived from Nagaram Nagariyam in Tamil Nadu. Our Tamil tradition gives the meaning for city is temple. The core life of Tamils serves not only for the development of society, discipline and peace, and also for its own worship, art, technology, which forms an cultural evidence of people of South India. The Chera, Chola and Pandya kings converted temples to art of civilization. The Narasimhavarma Pallava too laid the foundation for constructing various of stone and cave temples from temples made of wood. For this, the cave temples of Mahabalipuram stands evidence of world monument as recognized by UNESCO. According to Dr. R. Nagaswamy report, it has been understood that the 3D sculptures are created by the Pallavas. After Pallavas, this technology was followed by the Cholas. In this, the most recognized is Rajaraja Cholan I. The Pragadiswara temple of Tanjavur, built during 10th century, is full of granites, which have been followed by Kailasanatha temple of Kanchipuram, built by Rajashimha Pallava of 6th century. This is followed by Rajendra Cholan, who built the Solecharam Siva temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram. During 12th century, the second Rajaraja built Airadiswara temple at Dharaswaram. The UNESCO has given rich heritage status for all these three temples and enlisted in the great living Chola temples. Along with this, the Kambagareshwara temple at Tirubhuvanam, built by 3rd Kulothunga Cholan during 11th century, consists of several smaller statues, was also taken into consideration for this research. The statues present in these 4 temples have a common appearance in their shape and size. The frames of these statues are also looks similar. By seeing this, a question arises that why the same statues are placed at different locations in a temple. A sculpture is said to be a person who uses any one of the 10 different materials: stone, sand, wood, copper, calcium mix, bricks, tusk, wax, jacquerie, and color powder for producing such statues. Based on quality of materials, the making procedure differs. The temple architect Dr. Ganapati Sthapati, in his book Shirpa Channul, quoted that the grammar of art and architecture are common for all sculptors. At present, in the field of computer graphics, persons who creates images are called character designers. In our country, the art, paintings, music, drama, and statues are all having the same objective and qualities. Basics of life materials, happiness, and home are the four types of objectives that cannot be carried out in the field of architecture. The imagination caused by visualizing picture and act accordingly, the saying is nature. That's why a sculptor should know the artistic principle, as Ganapati Stabadi quoted that a sculptor who do not know grammar of art does not make a realistic artwork. Artists, while drawing a picture, imaginary part of that picture in front of this vision and drawn accordingly. According to Sirpa Sennul, when we see an 3D object in perspective view of the human eye, upper side of the upper parts of an object is invisible, whereas the lower side of the upper parts is visible. When we see an lower parts of an object, upper position of the parts is visible, but the bottom position of the parts of object is not visible. This is the painting's casual nature. Using this creative relieved sculptures or creative scenes in sculptures can be chiseled. However, while developing complete full relieved sculptures or a complete scene in sculpture may have a small change this time. While carving a full relieved sculptures in a stone or wood, it is measured and drawn over the surface of the stone or wood is a traditional one and clearly indicated in this Sirpa Sennul book. Following this tradition, nowadays also the images are first drawn in a computer and thereafter it is converted in a 3D structure or character. Using certain application softwares like 3ds Max and Maya, the images could be allowed to run or walk through animation techniques. Emily Cole and Winsor McKay were the first to introduce animation techniques is bringing out animated films. Walt Disney in 1923 shaped very well these animation techniques. Walt Disney, in his studio, he developed certain basic scenes using these animation principles, which are in the following sequence, like squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead action and pose to pose, follow through overlapping action, slow in and slow out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. Animation principles are described in the book of Disney Animation, The Illusion of Life by Frank and Ole Johnson. An animation film is said to be a product of hard work of hundreds of artists. All thus animation films that can viewed only through digital screen are produced by CGIs. Before 2000 years ago itself, our ancient people are well versed in lyrics, music and drama. Our great kings who makes wonder in carving stones must have tried to represent it through scenes. First, we are going to observe some statues of Pragadishwara temple at Tanjavur, the tall temple tower, inside which has a Shiva Linga made of a single stone, and a front hall was built by King Rajaraja Cholan. At the entrance, The Dwarabalaga statues are located on both sides of the front hall. In this, the statue located on the left side. The today's animation principle of exaggeration was clearly followed. Further, in this statue, if we see a snake engulfing an elephant and surrounded the war weapon present beneath the Dwarabalaga's leg, which clearly shows that they have followed exaggeration principle. In this frame, Dwarabalaga was showed larger in size and his finger symbolizing Tarjini Mudra and pointing that God present inside is greater than all has been expressed. As well, even a common man could be able to understand the concept. Dr. Kudavail Balasubramaniam, in his book Rajarajacharam, explained this concept clearly. This animation principle is found important for creating cartoon characters to show the difference of an image into another image based on shape and size. Thus principles are applied. Next, we are going to observe statues of soldiers on both sides of Dwarabalaga statues. Each 4 statues on both sides are located. The soldiers' statues are approximately 6 feet normally. Thus, statues looks like real soldiers standing with sword in different location. Minor difference could be seen in between each and every statues. While carving bigger statues, there might be some variation found in a same statue because it would have been carved by 2 or more sculptors. Architectural books reveal that a sculptor starts carving a statue only after he draws an image on the stone. Further, on the outer portion of the first floor of the tower, there are 30 statues were carved and there is no much difference between them. Creating such invariable 30 statues, why the sculptor have shown difference in thus 8 statues alone is a question, and if we investigate through thus 8 statues, they have tried to narrate a story through thus statues, and from this we clearly understand that they tried to bring out the animation principles. When thus 8 statues are developed into 8 frames and after sequencing thus are programmed in a flash software, we could see that a shield present in the soldier's hand goes down and lifted up. The movement of sword and turning of his left leg's foot is clearly seen in these 8 statues. This is used for developing completely over present day animation techniques. Thus are statues of Bharatanatyam located on second floor of the temple tower. All the statues have 4 hands. Scientists observed that Lord Shiva by himself explains the principles of dance to the people. Among these 108 sculptures, 81 sculptures are complete and 27 sculptures are incomplete. Further, an animation technique called pose to pose is revealed. In almost all statues, they did not possess any tools. The sculptor has shown animation with intelligent use of the 4 arms of Shiva. Dr. Padma Subramaniam, in her article, reported that the sculpture in this statue follows certain animation principle and also clearly indicates the 4 harmful nature through Lord Shiva statue. As a reference to this, let us see a statue of dancing Shiva at Sham Museum in Myanmar. In this, the dance movements are depicted through 8 frames. In Tanjavur temple, all the statues that shows dancing movements. Further, it is clearly that the dancing movements are documented visually. Next, we are going to see the statues of Gangaikonda Cholapuram Shiva temple. The temple built by Rajendra Cholan is found similar to Tanjavur temple by having soldiers' statues on both sides of the hall. Here, minor variation is found between the first and second statue. In the second statue, the sword in hand is slightly lifted upwards. The left leg is slightly turned in position. Scientists have observed that in order to bring out Rajarajan's success of winning several countries, his son Rajendra Cholan might have created these 2 statues to show the difference from one generation to another generation. A historical incident was narrated through these 2 frames is well understood. Some statues are found on the pillars of hall. They are the statues of dramatic street artists. One of the statue contains 6 legs. After separating into individual frames and when animated, the artist turn his body from downward to upward position. By lifting the legs is seen. The various principles were used here is clearly understood. A woman lifts her legs above her head and the closing kind of yoga exercise is well shown in a single statue. Present is another pillar. Next, we are going to see some of the statues of Ayradiswara temple at Dharaswaram. Several miniature statues with minute artwork are found in this temple. The front hall has an eastern facing statues of a temple car tied with horses, and in the sun's hand has a folded lotus flower indicating early morning. In the western facing sun's hand has an unfolded lotus flower indicating the evening time is clearly observed. An important philosophy and explained through this statue is that the time and period is like an untermed horse speed. Let us see the statue present in the footsteps of hall located on the temple backside. Here a street dancer like statue is seen. Along with this, an woman artist demonstrating some yoga steps by 4 position have shown in a single sculpture. They are called as Tadicheri women's. In this, keeping both the hands on the floor and lifting the legs above head position is observed. In this statue, all the 4 frames of superimposing nature are fitted with one above the other. In the first frame, the hands on floor is of the principle anticipation. Second, third and fourth frame, the legs lifted up, letting down is of principle arcs. The body gets bent and stretched or of principle squash and stretch completes the whole scene. Further, in the hall, in a pillar, a variable statue consists of 2 legs, 2 bodies and 4 hands is found. In these 2 poses are found in a single sculpture. Due to insufficient growth in technology, the sculpture could not able to give movements upon his thinking and imagination, but the movement scenes could be analyzed psychologically is clearly understood. This statue is found on the right side footsteps on the way to shrine room of left side prahara. A devotee worshipping God like three sculptures are located. A devotee called Apparadigal, who visualized pair of birds and animals, sung a number of 11 group of songs. Dr. Balasubramaniam, in his book Ayaradiswarar Tirukoil, have noted that for each song separate scenes, that is 11 scenes, are depicted near the southern part of the footsteps in the statue. If we observe it, two swans rising down from the sky is understood. In the first frame, wings of swan is extended nature. Half folded wings in the second frame. Completely folded wings in the third frame is clearly visible in those frames. The bird coming down from sky for rising is indicated for an observer to realize that event. This is the statue of Ravana Anugraha Murti. In this statue, the Ravana possesses 10 heads and 20 hands. Lifting Himalaya by Ravanan was depicted on the main tower wall, was shown as half-relieved sculpture. In this sculpture, Ravana by his two hands lifts Mount Kailas little by little is depicted in 5 frames. Statues are carved in such a way that a person psychologically feels that the statue moves while observing. Also, we could see that the sculptor had tried to make this feeling in this type of statue. It has been very well understood that the Tamilians laid the foundation for animation techniques before 1000 years itself. The frames of the 10-handed Ravana lifting Himalayas little by little through his hands, when run on Flash software, indicates several principles of animation. All the 3 temples we observed so far has been recognized as World Heritage Symbol by the UNESCO. Next, we are going to see thousands of equivalently engineered very small statues of Kambagareshwara temple of Tirubhuvanam. The temple built by Kulothunga Cholan III is located at Tirubhuvanam near Kumbakonam. The patterns and designs of the present day silk sarees weaving by our people are taken from the statues of this particular temple. Several forms are found in the basement of this temple. Let us see now a statue of a soldier sitting upon a lion. Although there are several such statues have been found in the basement, only 5 statues alone selected for this research. When all the statues' images are digitalized and viewed on a computer screen, we could able to see the movement of the soldier sitting on the lion. In this group of statues, the wonder is that the sculptor have followed the techniques of principles which are found to be similar while drawing animation films today. Finally, we are going to visualize a wonder group of statues. All the statues were found in same place of the basement. Among these, only 12 statues were taken into an account for our research. An maiden elephant chasing a woman and caught hold her by its trunk and put her beneath its leg, rolled her and killing cruelly, has been wonderful carved by the sculptor, is an excellent visualization. The speed of the murdered elephant and the expression of the running woman trying to turn the elephant's speed by the 2 soldiers were shown clearly in this view. All the statues are changed into several frames and computer generated images, and after sequencing through 12 frames, and when rendered it on flash media, we could observe an amazing animation picture. In this frame, the lifting and downing the woman by the elephant's trunk is a philosophy of anticipation. The elephant bending its both legs and moving its body is a kind of an arc principle. The shrinking and extending of elephant and woman's body is a squash and stretch principle. And the two soldiers sitting on the elephant and their activities are of secondary action principle were clearly understood. The movement of elephant's tail is of follow-through and overlapping principle, and all the objectives involved in this event is depicted in a single frame is a kind of staging principle is explained. All thus 12 statues are in 12 poses. This we called a pose-to-pose principle. Missing frames in between one pose to another pose could be filled up by using today's animation softwares. In our animation industry, this event is called a straight ahead. The film formats what we use today, the normal frame rate is in the ratio of 3:4. Widescreen is 1:1.35. CinemaScope is 1:2 and Panavision is 1:3.85. The frames created in almost all statues, framing composition is of in the ratio of 8:12 and found to be coinciding with our today's frame ratio. In our present day cine industry, individual images are transferred into film strips and run it by the use of projector. We could see that the principles of persistence of vision is visualized. Our ancient people over 1000 years back itself have tried to show such scenes through statues is appreciable. The first cinema called Lumiere Brothers The Arrival of Train has been converted into digital format and safely protected. Even after several hundred years ago, the artistic skills stood untouched against natural disasters or from poachers' hands. It is our duty to protect and pinpoint the importance of statues for this world. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, says that the first animation technique was developed in the Paleolithic cave paintings some 5000 years ago itself. Paintings drawing in paper or computer screen are easier and correction to be made is also easier, whereas our ancient people draws a picture on a stone and then carved the statues. Without any digital technology development in the 9th century, the ancient people uses stones as media, statues as characters. In narrating and visualizing the scenes of Puranas for all shots of people like children's, grown-up peoples, family members, and temple priests, accordingly and psychologically, the moments found in the statues that are visualized through animation techniques should be appreciated and protected for several thousands of years is our important duty.